Those of you who have diabetes and are always being told things you can't have, I've got an exciting recipe with flavors that you can. So we're going to take a trip to Thailand for little fish cakes that are packed with flavor.
You can use food to treat diseases.
I lost lots of weight myself years ago, so I had this passion to show people how you can eat really well and kind of keep the weight off.
I know exactly what people should be eating, but I can't turn that into actual food. Daniel is a brilliant chef who comes up with these incredible recipes.
The education side that Dr. Joe brings is brilliant. He gives us the actual facts of what we can and can't have, and then he hands it to me, and I can come up with something that's, hey, I could throw that together in 5 minutes. Fresh, good, healthy food.
This is one of my favorite dishes to make because it's just so packed with flavor and nutrients as well.
Amazing foods, amazing foods. Tell me a little bit about what the recipe entails.
So I've got some salmon here, and this is going to be the bulk of it and the main ingredient. Now, sometimes what happens is people use a lot of fillers in their fish cakes. So they put flour and potatoes because it's actually a lot less expensive than using something like this. But what would be wrong with the flour or something like the potatoes?
So flour and potatoes are starches which we're trying to reduce the amount of. We're not eliminating all carbs. This is not one of those kind of plans. This is a more modified Mediterranean plan, but we don't need all the extra flour and potatoes because essentially you're going to just turn it into sugar the moment you eat it.
Now in here I'm going to put an egg, and that's going to help bind this together.
Absolutely.
Now this is some chili. Now you can use either a little red chili or you can use the Thai red chilies.
Okay.
I would take the seeds out because they are incredibly spicy.
Okay.
So it depends how much heat you want.
Okay.
Now to that again we're going to add a natural sweetness, and that's going to be the red onion.
Oh,
you really do get a little bit of a sugary flavour from red onion.
Wonderful.
So it's
without any sugar.
Without any sugar.
That's
so
right.
it's a nice way to do that. Then again, to help bind, we've just got some lemon juice.
Okay.
And you want to put that on last minute because you don't want to turn the colour of the salmon.
Okay.
Fresh cilantro. Oh my goodness, that's
wow.
so good.
Yeah, you can smell it. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, this is what really, again, makes this a wonderful flavour. Whenever you add fresh herbs and spices, you just get that extra big power.
Right.
I love using ginger, so I'm going to put a lot of it in there.
Right. I'm a big fan of ginger because ginger actually, in published clinical studies, is used as an anti-inflammatory. It actually can be used for really inflammatory conditions like arthritis. Eating ginger, taking ginger, cooking with ginger will help those problems.
Don't they say it's good for pregnancy as well, for feeling...
For nausea.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Studies on ginger for nausea as well in pregnancy. So
is
it's
that
just
for anyone?
all good.
It helps if you kind of have an upset tummy?
You absolutely could do that, ginger lozenges, but I like using it as a natural anti-inflammatory.
Now, if you cook garlic a long time, the pungency really goes away.
Okay.
But if you have raw garlic, it's a little bit harsh.
Right,
So that's why
right.
we're just adding a little for flavour. And then a little bit of soy sauce. And
Okay.
there are some other alternatives out there in the marketplace if you don't want to use anything with gluten.
Okay.
You can certainly find some. I believe there's a couple out there that you can find.
Which
but,
have no gluten at all.
but
Okay.
we are using a very little.
That's fine. It's a trace of anything is not going to be bad.
And then I'm putting a tiny bit of sesame oil.
Okay, good.
It's more for flavour. So all we'll do now is just pulse this. I'm just going to add to that a few sliced scallions that are just going to give another little crunch. Dr. Joe, I hope you've got some good news for me about salmon because it's my favourite fish to use in this.
Salmon is spectacular, actually. Salmon is a wonderful protein, and it is high in omega-3s, which, just to kind of go over a little bit, basically the polyunsaturated fats can be omega-6 or omega-3, and the American diet, the not so healthy diet, is very high in omega-6s, which are actually inflammatory. They tend to cause inflammation in the body. The opposite is true with omega-3s, which is why everybody loves fish oil and everyone tries to eat fatty fish like salmon. It will reduce inflammation. So the Mediterranean diet, this is full of sardines, anchovies, and obviously beautiful salmon.
That's good news.
Yes,
I love it.
It's good news for everybody.
And it really pulls together so well in this one, and really nice. So in this non-stick pan, I'm just spraying a little bit of olive oil, and actually you don't even need to add any oil because there's enough in the salmon that does come through if you want to reduce that. But I just make them into little size cakes, and you can also put it in your hand and make it into a little fish ball and then flatten it out. You could do these as large sizes, you can do them as mini canapes,
right.
And I think everyone's going to just love the flavour that's packed in this.
And healthy and obviously not deep fried, so there's not an enormous amount of calories. This is olive oil or avocado oil to cook.
Absolutely.
Very, very healthy, very good for blood sugar control.
Well, you saw really, I mean, how little oil I've used.
Yeah.
And you'll see the colour it gets as well. So what I'm going to do is just now bring the heat up a little bit. They really won't take long to cook.
And you know, the interesting thing is that salmon can get a little expensive.
Yes.
But the canned salmon is very, very healthy. So you could certainly use that as your salmon option, as your salmon alternative, and you'd be able to cook with that.
You could. I mean, the only thing with that is I would, if I'm using canned, cook very quickly, because you just want to kind of, you know, brown it over, because everything is cooked other than the egg that binds
Exactly.
it.
Right.
Look at the colour of this. What do you think of
Unbelievable.
those? I mean, those...
I think I want to eat them.
I promise you, you can. The thing about these, you know, they just take seconds to make in
Wow.
a blender. It couldn't be quicker. And everyone can kind of try their favourite ingredients. You want to put a bit of lemongrass in there.
right.
There's no rules.
yeah.
But can you almost smell that flavour
I
coming
can.
through?
I'm salivating at this point.
Well, we're going to do 3 lovely sides for a main course. I like serving it with a salad because, again, what I've done is taken a traditional dish, taken out the starch like the potatoes or the flour, and made it a very, very simple, low-carb dish that is good on so many diets.
That's exactly right. And anti-inflammatory. You're adding it to a beautiful fresh garden salad. Add some olive oil to the salad. Fantastic.
You give it a little tap. If there's a big bounce back, then it's not cooked all the way through. If you don't get anything back, then it's just about ready to serve. So now I'm going to take this off, turn the heat off, and pop on 1, 2.
Those look amazing, Daniel.
And 3.
Wonderful.
And there you have got a packed flavour of either a starter, main course, little canapes, that really takes you around the world and shows you what you can have for people who have diabetes.